All right, thank you very much. So let this be the first ClawCon meetup in Madrid. And well, this all started as let me go for this slide. This all started in a Telegram group with Samuel. Samuel is there in the Suma Positiva community, and we were seeing like okay, all of the meetups popping up everywhere, and we're seeing the Portugal already piling up, and say, well, there is nothing in Madrid in Spain. Let's what if we do this? And Samuel said like, dale. So here I am. It started with just a message. We started talking to people. We collected a few 14 people starting to collaborate and starting to talk about how making this possible. We changed banks like 3 times to try to come up with this place. We finally got the idea from coming here in the area 31 to the year. We have amazing sponsors with Oteme from Samuel. We have the host from GetShell here and Try Cuba from Francesco. And thanks to Francesco and reaching out to Twitter, we got also the rebrand for the ClawCon. ClawCon was the first meetup in San Francisco where Pete joined it, and they had around like 1,500 people there. So it was crazy. That was really, really crazy. And yeah, we managed to talk with Michael, who was organizing this ClawCon, and go under the umbrella. And yeah, we got from a few folks to 400 RSVP. Unfortunately, not everybody was able to get inside here. But thank you for everyone that traveled to come here. Thank you for everyone that was able to make it and that has interest in joining this community. Today, we're going to be a very lightweight presentations and on what people is building with it, how they are using it. We try to make it very community. Later, we're going to have some drinks and food so you can talk to the presenters, you can talk to each other and see how you're using it, help each other out. And yeah, well, thank you very much for being here. Just a small disclaimer. We're going to be taking pictures over the event. So as you know, we're in Europe, so we need to comply with regulations. So please make sure that be aware that we're doing the photography, recording, and streaming on X. If you follow the ClawCon account, you will be able to follow the event. For those that didn't make it, please follow us there. And yeah, let's get started. The first speakers are going to be the folks in GetShell. They're going to be presenting their solutions for hosted and managed OpenClaw instances.
This part of what we're going to showcase now. So my colleague here is using that selfie with the skill we're going to talk about, which we've already published on ClawCon. It's a video generation skill that is being used by one of our corporate partners and investors, which is called Ixigo, to automate ad campaign management and generation. So for that, we're using 3 tools. 2 of them are listed here. Those are Meta Ads and Google Ads. Those are another 2 Composio integrations, which are 2 tricky integrations like we just saw. And a 3rd integration, which is a custom one. It was a deep level technical one with application stuff. So we had to help them, honestly. And the other part is the skill. The skill is called Shellbot Video Generation. And we are showing right now a distilled version because we're trying to tame the beast. And we'd like to speak about this with you all afterwards in the networking. The easy one is already published on Club, and it's combining. Oh, sorry, I was stepping away. Osman is going to show you the actual full skill. It's OpenClaw. He's accessing his OpenClaw through Shellbot, through a shell. And he's going to show you the markdown. So the still one is using FireCrawl, and Remotion. With FireCrawl, we crawl the websites we're asking on the promo there and download assets like images and CSS from the website to understand the brand and grab some images. I'm passing them on to Remotion, which is an amazing tool. I don't know if you know about it. The real one, the one deployed on Mexico, has 2 more tools, which are FreePick and 11 Labs, which returns videos with voiceover and sound. But those take like 8 to 10 minutes, and they were out of scope, no time for this demo. That's why we published the distant one. And also, to be honest, that one is a bit chaotic. And that's why we were talking about taming the beast. About that, how we use skills. Again, that's a question we want to ask you afterwards. When does a skill end and when does a tool start? This skill is actually difficult to tame, and well, we'd like to know about how you manage difficult, complex skills. When do you decide it's a tool, and when do you decide it's a skill?
That's usually it takes fewer time. I don't know why it's taking so long. In previous test, it was like 1 minute. Okay, here we go.
Okay, just finished, sorry, demo time. So the thing is, the actual demo, the skill, the video generation skill, we passed a prompt with a 6-step scene, and the scene number 6 is the selfie we use, right? And it's just a demo that ClawCon can actually display right now on social media. And there you are. After closing, we would like to show a QR, which we are requesting to open for you guys to check out our website. I will be sending a promo code via an email. Roberto will be sending an email to all the attendees. And well, thank you for your time.
All right. Next in line is Mr. ClawCon Madrid. We'll be talking about using ClawBot in financial personal finance tools. So seems interesting.
I don't know. Finance is kind of boring, if you ask me. doesn't sound all that English. I'm going to start with this. How many of you know who Naval is? Okay. And how many of you have seen this tweet from about 2 years ago? Okay. So when this tweet went out, a lot of people were like, what? What are you talking about? And I think what's actually really interesting is that right now, what we're seeing with ClawCon is exactly, I think, what he meant. The number one answer that pops up right now on X is this, that agents are the ultimate interface over UI. And my interpretation of what Naval said is that a good set of AI prompts and systems replace UI. You don't need a UI. So that's the backdrop. It's a little philosophical, but what have I been doing? So this is your typical personal finance app. You know, you've seen a zillion. We don't even use it probably. Most of us are doing if we do any bookkeeping at home, we do it in an Excel spreadsheet, right? This happens to be an open source repo from the ex-founder at Barometrics, who spent about $1 million building this. $1 million of money like Samuel's, right? And then he stopped and he said, I'm never gonna make this work. It's a B2C product, the numbers don't work. One thing that made me fall in love with this, and I'll get to it more, is this. He added, this is one of the first SaaS tools I saw that was quote unquote AI native. Like he had the concept that what was interesting, it was not this, it was not the numbers. This is like the table stakes. What was interesting to him was this. What if I asked, this is the demo site, you can use it, is what I can do if I have access to that data. And for that, I don't need UI. Because if I need to use this stuff, so what did I do? I forked this last summer because I was using it for something else, because he was dropping it, and now it's a pretty, we're not, we don't have the number of stars, OpenClaw has, we have 7,000 stars, which is pretty good. So what we, try to do here is make the assistant be, an agentic assistant. So instead of what I was showing you before, was your typical, what everybody would downgrade to just a GPT wrapper. See, we haven't spent the last 15 years writing database wrappers, because it's all crud. We're all doing layers on top of a database. So what is possible here, though, now is super interesting, and this is where kind of the ClawCon thing starts. I can show you, by the way, this is a repo. If you want to use it, every time I go show it to people, I end up having both computers. So ClawCon, which is what's sitting behind that sidebar now, you can optionally say, hey, I want to talk to you, ClawCon, and maybe not even through your interface. I can do it through WhatsApp, I can do it through whatever, is this sort of interaction. So I'll show you an interaction that's real, and then I'll show you how much money it actually costs to do it. I'm sure you've all spent way too much money playing with this shit. So I think I asked her for the demo, hey, Bookie, I call mine Bookie, how much was the last product? And you can see here how it goes and has a lot of fun. Oh yeah, let me do a memory search. I see an OpenAI key. Maybe you have, a vector store. Now, there's nothing in the vector store. So yeah, it calls, the embedding model, doesn't find anything. And then it says, well, let me see if there's anything in the logs, right? Nah, it doesn't find anything in the logs, nothing that it can do. And then it says, okay, well, let me look at this memory that I made. And yesterday, I did ask it to close the books for me. Literally, the prompt was, please close the February books for the family. And it had generated this. This is ClawCon's version of my monthly books. This is the new UI. It's not my fancy, graphics, charts, what I sometimes call chart porn. All those pretty charts you never look at. Look at them once, or your boss looks at them once. This is how, by the way, I have not written an e-file. I don't know if this is a real, the numbers line up with the numbers that my software does. The good thing is that the software hopefully will be the system of records. I can tell you later if you want afterwards how there's tool calling, there's an MCP. If ClawCon does the job right, if you set the skills right, it's not going to make it up like it does here. Because you'll see what it does. I'll show you. At some point he gives up. He doesn't find that you're going to draw that bill in there. Because I don't have anything recorded, so let me just browse the web. You told me, and I'll show you the skill. I say, you're my family's accountant. By the way, I didn't even write the MD files. And for those of you that have already set this up, it's all about putting MD files that get added to the context. I told ClawCon itself what it had to be, and it did the job. It auto-updated its own empty files, because that was, for me, part of the concept I wanted to test. So he said, I'm going to be your accountant, and sure, since I told it that my accounting happens in the Sure app, it has the URL. It has a command line interface that you could use, which it tries to use, and then it realizes, this happens right before here, I think I went over this, I don't see the command line interface installed. So it gives up. It worked yesterday, actually. Yesterday, he was able to install the command line interface, so he just starts crawling the web. And by the way, it just gets it wrong, it starts crawling the web in the demo site. It doesn't log in with my credentials. I have given it in the skills my API key in the hopes that it would use the command line interface. And you know what it is with LLMs? Please, please, please use the command line interface. Yeah, whatever, I couldn't do it, so I'm just gonna do something else. So this is why all these systems are non-deterministic and really hard to work with. So anyways, I could keep showing this. I actually enjoy looking at this stuff. I don't know if you guys do. I don't know if you only stay on the other side of what actually comes in. It's super interesting to see. If only we could see the reasoning tokens that the labs are not showing us, we would learn a lot about how these systems work. And I guess just to close this part of it, I can show you at the very end, and you've all heard about the heartbeat. Here it is telling me, hey, by the way, we still have a thorough thing to look at, because I never found your number. So to me, all this shit is mind-boggling, because to actually see a non-deterministic system actually try to do the job that I've told it to do, and to actually remember all this is pretty cool. So anyways, that's the use case that I thought would be really nice to share, is how an app, a SaaS app, an app that supposedly, SaaS is no longer, is it viable? Can you invest in SaaS and they let you? Yeah, you're giving me a shrug. So VCs don't seem to like SaaS right now because it's not clear what the business model is, right? Are we all gonna have our own version of the code? Are we gonna do it like the Collison say, fresh pizza off the oven? I don't quite believe that. I think that's a lot of over exaggeration, because you still need the system of record to have the numbers right. I don't think we're gonna spend, this is how much the demo was like. So the demo to set up, because I didn't actually, I'll show you this in a minute. So yesterday, just to do the little bit of the setup, because I did it on a brand new, was $7, $8, to tell it to self-configure itself. And the number of tokens is like 300,000 tokens, because it's been crawling the web. And I didn't do what you all should do, is just change the default model, right? For the heartbeat on Opus 4.5, right? Do it on a cheap model. So this gets really expensive really quick, the way it's right now being deployed. Now, I'm sure really soon, OpenAI will say, oh, we're the good guys. You can use the OAuth key and like the Anthropic key, so use ours. It's probably gonna change. But building a system, it's a lot more just than on the spot doing the job in a rush, right? So I do think we're still gonna have a lot of software that we're not gonna write. And that's kind of the second part of, I don't know if I have enough time, but so this is the other thing that's happening that's mind-boggling. I think someone who invested in David Gil Perez, he's a contributor in the repo. So David one day hooks up his multi to my repo because he's using this. And this happened 2 days ago. I wake up to a pull request from his multi that's done a penetration test of the repo, and it's given me 26 vulnerabilities fixed. And like I did 3 weeks ago when this happened for the first time, because we had a command interface that we didn't write. David didn't write it, I didn't write it. The multi, as we called it back then, wrote it. I had to call him. David, is it you again? Or is it the multi? Oh yeah, sorry, it's the multi. I turned it on again. So this shit's real. I mean, if you're going into software, it's the next layer of abstraction, right? I don't see myself or anybody that I work with actually, doing the first time that in the Spanish word, the orfebrería, doing the fine work on the code. Even the pull requests are being reviewed by the AI now. And it's, crazy to consider, this is the command line interface. This started one night at midnight, and the bot just got stuck. And at some point, I can even show you, I asked him if he would let me, his multi called Wall. This is the actual exchange between him and the multi that's working on my repo. And it's very techy. If you're not in software, it's not going to make much sense. Hey, what are you using? Yeah, the merch is this. No, yeah, make sure you change. This other conversation might be a little bit. Yeah, I threw the pen test. The penetration test is there, but it wasn't working, so I relaunched it. So now I've completed it, and I've got 16 fixes. And yeah, and 12 of them are real. And And then he has to tell them, yeah, where did you do it? Which branch? Oh yeah, well, don't do it on main. Make sure you send a pull request. I don't know how much money he spent on this. I'm sure he's still using an OAuth key. But software has changed. We're not going to be writing software. I have another Sentry, if you are in software, is sending me pull requests from looking at the logs. So that demo site, if there's a problem that Sentry thinks it can fix, I wake up to a pull request telling me, hey, here's a fix for that thing that I see in the logs. So all this idea of self-healing systems that you hear is going to happen, is happening. Anyways, again, it's pretty techie stuff. If you're curious about this, or you're curious about what I think could happen here, I think the value of the community, I think the value of people that care about doing their finances, I think the value of people that care about their finances staying private. A lot of people are running this on local models, on Quen 3, in their local machine at home, because they don't want their financial data to go to OpenAI. So yeah, there's definitely something happening here where a lot more of us are going to write software because it's a lot easier to write software. Anyways, thank you.
Next in line is Paulo. Where are you? We'll be talking about information security, a CM platform for your box. So you have observability around it.
Hello. Yes, thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. Well, first and foremost, big shout out to the organizer team here. Barto, Samuel, Roberto, Juanjo. These guys made an amazing job making this happen in less than 8 weeks, and now there's over 300 people interested in coming to this event. So these guys are behind the scenes, but massive prop to them. And thank you very much to all of you for coming here as well. We are all learning something together. And what I'm going to be talking about, it's more about the security side of things, that thing that you don't really care about until it is time to care about. So this is called ClawSide, and we'll get into it right now. So just like a quick, who am I? My name is Pablo, and I've been doing InfoSec and applied research for quite some time. I've been in the crypto industry since 2017. That's mostly where I work at. And I've been doing AI since 2023. I don't know if many of you remember Da Vinci before ChatGPT-3 was launched, but that was a complete different game. And I'm currently working at Cantina, so we work with Coinbase and we work with Aave and many other very big different partners, mainly on code analyzing, AI security solutions, AI autonomous security operations centers. So, like trying to be at the forefront of whatever the threat actors are doing. Now, Claw is everywhere, as you can see from all the attendees here. And the most important part is that the mic is dead. Hi. Yes. Maybe the North Koreans trying to hack us. So this is like ClawCon. Oh, I have to do it further. Like here. Oh, sorry, I speak too loud. I'm Spanish. That's it. So Claw is everywhere, right? And if you have actually dived deep into what the OpenClaw operating system looks like, you can think about it of a gateway, which is a WebSockets, let's say, server. And inside there is a runtime, which is constantly in a loop executing what we call the agentic lifecycle. So that's why everyone is using it right now, because you could argue that OpenClaw is actually like the first operating system for AI agents, right? It's like all computing is going to change, and it's going to be based on this kind of operating system. OpenClaw did it. Thank you, Mr. Steinberg. So as many of you know, the more you can do with Claw, it's basically a function of the access that you are providing to it. The more access you give it to your documents, Telegram accounts, Google Drive, emails, schedulers, your Bitcoin accounts, your bank accounts, the more you give access to, the more it is going to be doing. Now, what's the problem? The hackers know this. So everyone is going after your OpenClaws now. As you can see here from all these different news, there's users who've lost a lot of money
just running these agents. The hackers have figured out a way to inject malware into your open-close instances by crafting malicious skills that is making your small little agent download stuff from the outside internet. So last month, it was a complete, like a dumpster fire, as you can see here. And of course, configuration is very important because you can have your OpenClaw agent running, but if you misconfigure it, you can pretty much go to Shodan and see everyone opening their gateways to the internet, and then comes, North Korea or someone else like knock knock, what's in here? Oh, here's your bank accounts, here's your information. Let me take a peek at it. So yes, everything is pretty much on fire, but we're fine, right? I mean, we're still, we're hackers. We are keep on, improving. We're experimenting with the fourth technological revolution here, and one of the things that I was doing is thinking, okay, I have my OpenClaw out, and I don't really want it to get hacked. So I'm going to create a skill. Now I put this skill on the Cloud Hub, and it was pretty good. So I said, hold on a second. Maybe there is something here, like people really need protection. So we improved the skill and actually put it on the skills directory as well. And essentially, with this, it's a skill that allows you to do a whole check of your operating system, like whatever the instance that you're running your OpenClaw on, to see if if there's open ports, if your firewall is working, if there's like any other malicious skill involved. And then we said, okay, skills are really not enough. Everyone is talking about skills, but skills can also be prompt injected. So here's where we created what I call the Claw side, which is a plugin. And a plugin, what essentially does is that you have your OpenClaw, and when you install the plugin, that is adding some extra logic to your agent. So it's not a skill; it's extra code that the bot can actually run. And I call it Claw side. It's actually open source. It's free. Nobody's charging you for this. Go ahead and use it. And if you have any feedback, please do let me know. This is V1, but the idea is that everyone here stays more protected. And just to give you a quick overview, so Claw side, the whole idea, it's some sort of like EDR. I don't know how many of you work in security here. If you're like, can you raise your hand? 1, 2. Oh man, we are so wrecked. Okay, so just so you know, there's a security solution called Endpoint Security Solution, right? Endpoint detection and response. And you have the plugin, which you install on OpenClaw. And then on the other side, you have a dashboard, which we call a CM, where you can see all the telemetry, all the actions, everything that is happening inside your OpenClaw bot, right? So the whole idea here is that we get visibility into what your agent is doing, because you give it access to everything, but you're just interacting with a black box. You don't really know what is going on. So if you ask it, like, what's the meaning of life? And then it responds 42, it's like, okay, but what happened in between, right? Like, have you visited IPs, domains? Did you download malware? What did you do? So if you don't really know what is going on, then we could say that this is magic. Now, the whole purpose here is that you have the plugin hooked into the agentic lifecycle. So each time that you interact with your OpenClaw, there is this loop, right? It takes the message, it creates the context, it executes tools, it does blah, 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 and then it responds to you. So the plugin hugs, it's plugged into all these different steps in the lifecycle. And for every single step that is happening, there is a piece of event or telemetry that the plugin is capturing, intercepting, as so you say, and sending it to your CM. So you can see exactly what is going on. So what tools have been called, what was the prompt and context that has been built, and so forth. So I had a demo, but because I did not do my sacrifice to the demo gods today, I thought that it was going to go wrong. So I recorded a couple of very nice videos, which hopefully do work. Oh yeah, 21st century. I love it. So this is just installing the plugin in a very easy way. And you install it with a local mode. What does this mean? It means that you are not really sending telemetry to your CM or to your external dashboard to manage stuff, but you actually can interact with this protection layer via Telegram, right? So here you have like different options, which you can make the plugin enforce at the runtime level. So if I ask it to, hey, block El País, I don't really want to read any more news from El País. So what is going to happen is that as soon as you want the agent to go to El País, it's going to tell you, I can access it. It's not part of the security policy. Now you can see how powerful this is. And now for the other example, which is a bit more flashy, this is what you have as the CM, which you can run locally, you can put up on your server and whatever it is. And for every plugin that you install in your OpenClaw instance, you get telemetry back. So you know what are all the skills that you have installed, what are all the plugins. Every interaction is going into the CM, and you can see every single event. If something goes wrong, then you can go there and actually troubleshoot. Oh, so it's at this step where the agents start drifting from my intent. That's something in AI security is called the intent drift, right? The agent is not doing what it's supposed to do. So this is a very nice way to actually get observability, visibility, and auditability inside of what this black box is actually doing. And if you don't want your OpenClaw to do certain stuff, such as like writing to your file system or whatever, you can actually write those security policies in the CM. And if the agent is going to execute them, then they're going to be immediately blocked. And you can actually escalate those issues. And as you can see here, every single step is logged. And you can also see like at what point in time it has been, as it's mentioned there, like, by security policy. So yeah, sorry for the long talk. This is pretty much it. If you have any questions or whatever, feel free to catch me around. And yeah, keep enjoying this. Follow me on Twitter. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's fine.
First I have to restart. You hear me? Fine. I have to restart my browser because I had a brilliant idea of switching back to Chrome. Yep. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time. It's gonna be the fourth session, so I'm gonna try and keep it much up to the standard because like the bar is very high today. So where I'm part of QA. First of all, like how many of you folks know about Y Combinator as in YC? Oh, that's nice. Okay, cool. So I ended up like doing the Spring 25 batch like over 1 year ago. So the company started as a whiskey company. Basically, I was working on Microsoft over 5 years, Dublin, Barcelona for a while, back in Italy, where I'm from. And started a company. The company name is QA. How many of you guys knows about computer use agents, what they are? How many of you guys know about browser use agents? Maybe. Okay, that's cool. So computer use agents are a superset over browser use agents, meaning that they're able to use all the spectrum of features of like real operating systems. When you're talking about like clicking, typing, scrolling, running code, you can do all of this like using QA. The main idea is that agents these days, they don't only need APIs, they don't only need like tool calls, they also need real operating system because we've been building upon like this full spectrum of features that is like an operating system for so long. And there is a lot of like GUI automation that comes with that. So we pretty much support like all the operating system at this stage. Whenever like you need like a GUI environment, whether that's gonna be like Linux, Windows, Mac OS, we also support like Android device. Everything is as easy as like just doing QISB create and then like passing over the operating system type. And here. Yeah, and what I wanted to show you today, I have to reopen everything here, is so we ended up like sponsoring like over 1 month ago ClawCon, the OG event that happened in SF. And there definitely like were a lot of lessons learned when it comes to that. So we ended up like shipping a contribution like very early on CloudBot for basically spinning up like macOS VMs using basically like our open source infrastructure. We are also open source, and the idea is that as I was mentioning before, like there are all these features that you most likely want to also have CloudBot um, basically like take on. And in this example, you can see like I'm able to install this CLI that we call QuaBot, and giving it access to Cloud Code. It's also going to be able to spin up like a virtual desktop. Like this demo is like running 100% like local, meaning that it's like much more secure than running like on cloud sandboxes. There is less that can go wrong in that sense. And in this case, you can see that this is like the very first like multiplayer experience for a computer use agents. Because like back 1 year ago, I was talking with customers, especially one of the main bottleneck around this type of agent was like, okay, I want to run this stuff on my own operating system, but then ultimately what I'm meant to do as the agent goes unleashed on my device and it takes control and basically sitting there still, not able to do anything. And with this experience, like um, we basically like demo the very first multiplayer agent that is gonna like create like X11 windows, and this is basically like GUI containers. And you can see like in this case, I'm able to, yeah, just like install and run like a Flappy Bird clone at the same time, like maybe working with an AutoCAD software. All of these like coordinated from a CLI. As I was mentioning before, we are 100% open source. You can find us /QA. We have a lot of like in our core offering that I couldn't touch today. Pretty much like we're also selling RL environments to other labs, and that's pretty much like how we make money these days. And you can also find the demo that I couldn't showcase you here because I don't believe in demo gods. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh.
Oh, okay, I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, I need you to reaccept me in the meeting because I had to restart from. Yeah. It's okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Juan Mojica, and I'm bringing here today a very like practical use case for me, at least. I don't know who's vibe coding here. Can you raise your hand if you vibe code? Okay. If you're launching things into production, like a website or an app, rarely you're running into errors everywhere at any time. They can be at 4 p.m. or they can be at 2 a.m. So the first thing when you want to surface errors is set up correctly, like your logs. It can be in your platform. You can use, in my case, I use Google Cloud, so Google Cloud logging. Then you have like something like error reporting, where the errors are surfaced in real time. But then the next problem comes, which is if you're coding with 5 agents, you're probably messing up pretty often. So you're probably having quite a lot of errors. So when you get to this, like, let's say panel where you have all your errors, what you usually think is, okay, I can't be like all the time checking out this. This is like a full-time job. So I'm going to do something smart. I'm going to set up an alert. So every new error that pops up, I get like a notification in my phone. So then what happens is that you start having micro heart attacks every time you get a notification because there is an error in production. So the way usually companies handle this is effectively you have people seeing these errors all the time and saying, okay, there is like a container or a service that just restarted. So this error actually is not important. But this other one, there is like a type error. So this is something that customers are suffering. So you need to filter and you need to understand what you want to fix and what you don't need to fix. So I thought, okay, what if I could have that someone looking all the time to these errors, understanding what's relevant, what's not, and helping me like understand where are the errors, how to fix them, and eventually even fix those errors. So this is what I've done with OpenClaw. This is basically the diagram. Probably those that are far you won't see it, but I will explain it. So what you have is basically a cron job. So something scheduled every 5 minutes. You have your claw looking into, in this case, Google Cloud error reporting, but it can be your error platform. And it reads the error, all the errors, the new errors, and it has like a small database. You can bytecode this, where it says, okay, there are 5 new errors. 4 of these, I've already seen them. 1 of these is popping up all the time, and this is very relevant. So it's about understanding what's noise and what's signal. And if you go to signal, then you have like 3 options. First option, notify me. So I connect it through Telegram. So it's like a notification, but instead of having a notification for every single error, you get notifications only for the relevant errors. Second option is investigate the error straight away. So I'm not going to notify you. I'm going to investigate first what's happening, and then I'll create like a issue in Linear, or it can be like a ticket in Jira saying, okay, here's the issue, here's the code that's messed up, and here's probably what you need to do. So this is very good, for example, for more like complex errors when you need a human to review because the agent is not sure how to fix them. And then you have the third option, which is the ideal one. We are going, all of us, towards it, which is fix the error for me, create the PR. The PR gets reviewed by another AI agent. So this happened to me, for example, at 2 a.m. I woke up 8 a.m. The PR was ready, was reviewed. So it was a type error, and it was way faster than myself going into error reporting, understanding what was happening, looking into the code, even like launching the agent to look into your code takes way longer than just this system doing it automatically for you. And if you want to be more conservative and you don't want to go for like the investigate and auto-fix options, what you can do is what I did basically in Telegram, which was, these are like real issues. So I got like the issues that were happening, and then I go, okay, for these ones, investigate them. So I'm not sure that the bot will be able to solve it by himself. So investigate them and create a linear ticket. And for this other one, you can fix it. So what happens when I ask the bot to fix or to investigate the errors? You might think, okay, but this is like a chat interface. How is it going to be going to my code and or do all the fix in the same like chat? No, what it's going to do is it's going to prompt Cloud Code through like this through a CLI, and Cloud Code is connected to GitHub, is connected to the code base, is connected to the libraries and the stuff, and can actually launch the PR and everything. So you give it only access to what needs to access. So it's very relevant with security talk we just had. And what it does is basically launching sub-agents to do this task. And in the end, it will tell you like, okay, in this case, okay, I found the issue. But for others, it's like, hey, here's the PR, you can review it. And yeah, this is pretty much of it. I literally vibe coded all of this. Of course, with OpenClaw, there's no other way around that by coding. And here's what it tells me. It's a pretty long prompt. I'm happy to share this with anyone that's interested, but it's basically saying, okay, this is the way you need to handle errors. This is what you need to consider if you want to investigate them, if you want to fix them. Here's the way you can launch Cloud Code to fix them. And yeah, that was pretty much of it. It's not that complicated, but it's very practical. And I'm pretty sure if you try it out, you'll see that it helps to have like all the errors managed pretty quickly. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay. So, well, first of all, I don't have the level of this many people in here, and I was in the reserve actually, so I was not. This was not very planned. Some people asked me about how we can use OpenClaw for local LLMs because I was experimenting a little bit of the past month, and I wanted to share a little bit what I've learned so far. Probably, if any one of you have fight with this, you will find out this quite silly, but still, I hope it's helpful. So, yeah, I was taking out the interview with Peter the other day, and he said a very interesting thing that I love is that OpenClaw differences that it runs on your computer, and I think this is something that it actually makes unique, and we can even take a step further and run everything from our computer, not only the agent but also the LLM. And one thing that I was looking at the other day was like this funny thing about Apple that they're not investing a lot in capex because they're basically we're doing everything in our site. So why is this? Just a bit of context. When you try to feed LLM in your computer, you need to feed both the LLM and the context inside the memory of the system. And we face some trouble when trying to feed this into a no, say a common computer. That is that you need to feed most of it inside the VRAM because the actual RAM is very slow, runs very slow. And this is for agents. This is even worse because you need to concatenate lots of different tool calls, lots of different calls, and it gets exponentially slow. So one thing that Apple provides is the unified RAM, and ironically, they are becoming the cheapest way on running LLMs locally. In my case, I don't run it with this setup. We'll dig into that later. But well, some of the reasons that people say on why would I run this locally, I think there are four main reasons. The first one that people usually defend is money, and I don't think it is because running this in your home requires initial investment. Also, you need to have a plugin, you need to run on electricity cost. And actually, most of the models that you can run locally are free somewhere else. So I don't think right now it's a good reason. The other one is the no lock-in. For example, this week we've faced some downtime on Claude because of the Iran conflict. So you can have this as a backup. The main one, I think, is because privacy. You don't want your documents to leave the place you're in. But for me, the main reason is because it's something open source, and I think it's something that for the people that have been this for a while, we've seen that it's what has empowered the technology for the latest 50 years. And during the last years, I saw a worrying trend that this technology is not available in our homes, and it's because it's really expensive to run. And I think it's really important on how democratize access on this. But for this, so what are the expectations of what you can run, what you cannot? Right now, you have these four basically setups that you can aim for. The first one is with 8 gigs of VRAM or unified RAM. You can run a 4B model locally, something like that. If you're standing into a $1,000, $2,000 investment, you can run something similar to GPTOS 20B. And the ones that look a little bit like the frontier models right now, maybe with a 6-month difference, something like that, is what you can run with 1 terabyte of VRAM that costs 25,000 K of Apple investment, basically. And if we take the decision to do this with graphic cards, skyrocket in cost. But this week we saw a new release that is Qwen 3.5 invested by myself, and I was actually quite impressed. And I'm not really sure how to benchmark it, but the point is that we are seeing similar results with quite some less VRAM. So I think this is gonna be the trend for the next upcoming months and years. And what we've seen so far is that this is going much faster than the frontier models actually are going from. So yeah, we've even maybe the last one is the most controversial one. It's not that we're seeing the exact same results with it, but we're talking about 1/4 of the requirements. So I think this is something very very interesting. And I was in here connected to my local setup. Just if any one of you have lots of different tutorials over the internet, so I don't want to spend a lot of time in here. There are many ways on approaching this, and my recommendation is take it slow, take your time to learn, and it's very very nice to learn about it. Here you can see this is in real time. You can see the my actual graphics card is a 400 euro graphics card, so it only has 16 gigabytes of VRAM. And this is the memory it has taken. It has almost all of the VRAM completely full, and I'm running on it the Qwen 3.59B with the 128K of context. So you can take a look at how much it fits. If you go to GPTOS, this is the usual setup that I can run with. Is the 20B, I can run it with 64K of context, which is not very good for OpenClaw. It's actually on the frontier. And this is how I run it. I run it with YamlCCP, with a Docker call. It runs it, and this is the model running. So just prepare setting up expectations again. Don't expect this to throw anything at it. Well, I have it running on my local server because I run other things in here. Is again 1,000 investment is not something very fancy. It runs it costs around 10 euros per month to maintain it on electricity cost. But I have in here other tools that I used to run, personal sites, even gaming, stuff like that, an image, some Nextcloud, some local hosted things. And I call the bot Yamsa because he's very motivated, but he's actually the dumbest of. He's not the best one of it. And as you've seen, all of my server is all with some trouble stuff. Sorry for that. I'm millennial. And yeah, what I was preparing for the demos. So for example, we have here a CSV file with just 3 different servers that you can with different setups, Mac Mini and Android server, PC Gamer. And the exercise that I wanted to give it is, okay, look for information about this on the internet and find out which one of these can actually run this specific model, that is a 6GB model, quantified to 4 bits. So reference the data, blah, blah, blah. And in here, you just can send it to it, and you actually tell him, okay, can you write in on this report MD file? And in here, you see the Llama CCP running, and eventually, I hope that that's the thing. Oh, okay. That's what happened. Try again. It's not. Oh, I can show you some results that happened before. It actually runs pretty fast, this kind of models. You have 2 kind of models. You have the dense models and the mixture of experts. So these 2, I think it's around 100, something like that. So one thing I noticed between some difference between GPOS, NV, and Qwen3, for example, is that Qwen3 tends to be really explanative by itself, so it tends to speak a lot and reason. So all the reasoning. Blah, blah. So, here it would start writing down everything that is doing. Maybe even he prints actually in the everything that he has written so far. So here he just look up into the internet, and for example, this one you can see like it says that no one has the one, but Mac Mini, for example, lacks the dedicated GPU VRAM. So this is not true because it actually can run it via the unified memory. And can actually tell you that. But the point is that it actually can do some stuff. It can concatenate some of the instructions. So my recommendation is that if you run something like this, that you actually not rely on it for doing creative stuff. I think it's much better for pre-processing or this kind of things, unless you have 20,000 systems. So that's it.
So we are done. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for staying and enjoying the talks. I think they were all very interesting. We are going to be handing over to the food and the drinks. It's going to be upstairs. And so thank you very much for all being here. Thank you very much for everyone that helped making this possible, for the sponsors. See you again.
Ah, claro.